Orna, welcome to Mexico.
Thank you, it's good to be here.
Let's start with something important. You are doing an exhibition here in Mexico. Why in Mexico and how do you feel it?
I got an invitation from the embassy here and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. They helped me, and I really appreciate bringing all my iron, big, heavy sculptures here. And for me, it's my first time in Mexico. I'm happy to be here, happy to bring my art to this country that I know that you have a lot of art and you appreciate art. So it's a good reason to be here.
You're speaking about your art. Tell me something about your art. Why so realistic? Many artists, they do something that nobody understands and say, you see, here is a chair, here is a movie, here is a people, here, and you do a chair, you do a belt, you do a crib, you do everything real. Why so realistic?
For me, it's very important to communicate with the viewer, with people who are looking at my art. It's, I don't want to be an artist that make people go away. I want to make people come closer. And the objects that I'm using, they are representing people. They are telling a story. And it's my story and my memories, but it's important for me that you'll be able to connect and see your story and your memories in my art. So it's not everything, I think it's more sometimes surrealistic, sometimes symbolic, but it has a lot of meanings in everything. It can be a backpack of a child hanging on a long line of hooks, and there is only one bag. It shows the loneliness of a child. Or it can be, like I did in the central bus station in Jerusalem, hats of different people. Hat of a Jewish Orthodox Jew, and of a Christian, and of a Muslim. And what it shows is that in Jerusalem, all kinds of people are living together. This very big message, only through hats.
Right. You transform normal objects, people objects, into art and into stories. Which one, you already told me about this one, about head. Which one do you think is the most interesting story back in one of your pieces?
I think the sculpture that made people tell me as many stories as you can think about is the sculpture of the suitcase with roots.
With fruits?
Roots.
With roots, yes.
It's like tree roots. Roots are saying we are staying, we are in the ground. Suitcase you take, this is a little surrealistic, the combination between suitcase and roots. And a lot of people are telling me about their families who came to Israel with the suitcase and put roots in the ground. This sculpture represented Israel in the UN. So the ambassador, the Dutch ambassador, came to me and told me his story about his family immigrating from Australia to Holland. So the suitcase with roots has many stories in it. It is simple, and the combination of the things that are the contrast in it is telling a story. My story, your story, my people's story, other people's story.
Now you have the opportunity to tell your stories and show the object stories in a very important place in Mexico. It's like the Knesset from Israel. What do you think about it, to have your exposition not just in the sports center or in a hotel, it's in the House of Representatives in Mexico, let's say it like that?
I'm very proud, I feel very important. But the reason for this exposition is the International Holocaust Day. And in my art you can also find some of the Holocaust stories. It's called, the exhibition will be called What's Left.
Lo que quedó. Lo que sobró, lo que quedó.
And the objects are telling the story of the people that are gone. So if a relative of my husband came to Israel after he lost all his family in the Holocaust, he brought a photograph of his mother who was murdered there. And I took the photograph, and it's a new thing for me, combination of photography with iron. I made her in the photograph disappear because she's gone. And I sculpt her head that stays to tell her story.
Nice.
So the reason for the exposition here is the Holocaust Day and the awareness to what happened there and what shouldn't happen ever anywhere in the world. So this is the message. And it's important that it will be in the Congress. So politicians will think about it, remember, and go for a better future.
Do you think you are a representative of or an emblem now for Israel?
Yes. I'm representing my art, but I'm representing Israel and the Jewish people as well.
We were just speaking with very interesting gentleman here that Israel has many things to offer, not just about terrorism, it's not just war, it's not just problem. They have very interesting things like your exposition. What do you think about this and Israel and all the cultural offer it has to it?
Israel is very, very cultural. We have, I had an opening of my exhibition in Jaffa 2 months ago.
Yes.
I had 1,000 people coming for the opening. At the same time, there were thousands in other opening of exhibitions. There's music, there is theater. We are a very fruitful country. People here hear about the wars, but Israel is very cultural. And I think if artists will run the world, the world will look different.
I'm sure of that. And I know that you have a very interesting story about that and your relation with Arab people. Tell me a little bit about that relation with Arab people after what's happened to you and now.
There is an exhibition in Haifa every year that Jews and Arabs are showing together. It's a very important exhibition for me. I donate, we don't get money for it. And it happens in Haifa in a neighborhood where my grandfather was shot in 1929 by an Arab. So my grandfather was shot there, and I am showing with my Arab friends there, and I think this is the right way, not to remember and not to keep the hatred, but go forward for peace, for art, for coexistence together. So this is what I can do as an artist to contribute to the peace and to the friendship with people we live with.
If you have to make a piece of art, you already told me with the heads what represents for you Jerusalem, that everybody lives in. But if you have to make just one piece, they call you and say, we are celebrating Israel. We're celebrating something big in Israel. Which one it will be and how it will be, that piece of art?
I did make one. The mayor of one of the cities, I make outdoor commissions as well, huge sculptures. And he wanted me to do something with hope.
With hope.
Hope is hope for peace.
Yes.
I've sculpted 2 figures sitting on a bench. 2 shoes. I chose shoes. One shoe is from one pair, and the other shoe is from another pair, and they live together. They sit together. I'll show you.
All right. Yes.
I'll show you this one. In my book. Here. You see this shoe?
Yes.
And this shoe.
Yes.
They're coming from different pairs.
Yes.
And they live together.
And there are 2 people sitting together.
In love, they are a pair, they live happily together. I call it living together. Can you see that?
It's also very significant because you always say that you cannot feel what the other people feel, instead you are in his shoes. So So maybe it's also that. You cannot say what an Israeli or an Arab feels, or somebody from a different culture, if you are not in his shoes. It can be that. When you have a sandal there and
different sandals,
yes.
They live happily together. So this is an example. And also I'm going now for a big exhibition with Nihad Dabit is another artist, but with an Arab artist, Butaina Malcher, and we're going to show together. So this is my way to try to contribute to the positive side of living together.
I think what you said, if artists rule the world and women, more of that, maybe we'll have to.
Let us rule the
Somebody
world.
told me that instead of a woman, if they were ruling the world, instead of fighting, they will be looking what is the fashion trend, so it will be most easy. And in your case, they will be looking what is the artist way and what is the fashion in art.
Fashion is one thing, but really, artists are creating. They are not destroying. And that's it. I want to quote one thing. President Paris wrote me a letter lately.
Yes.
There was a TV program about me. He wrote me a beautiful letter. At the end, he gave me the best sentence. He said, Orna, you prove that there is nothing softer than iron and nothing stronger than a woman.
With that,
Perfect.
I think we don't have any more to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.